This video is about photographing in fog, one of my absolutely favorite things to do. So I love doing landscape photography in the fog. Around here there's not enough foggy days. We usually get some in the fall, but rest of the year they're few and far between. So I usually watch the weather carefully, and if I see there's going to be a foggy day without any rain, and typically there's rain when there's fog, I try to get out and do some shooting. So why do I like fog? There's really two reasons that I use fog in my landscape photography. The first is to remove distractions. If you can find a great subject with fog surrounding it, that subject will really stand out. So here's some examples. Here are some trees over the years that I've shot in foggy conditions. And those trees all of a sudden become far more prominent in the image and become a real art form right in the center of your frame. Here's a structure at the edge of a lake in Connecticut that I think without the fog it would not be as interesting in my view. And it's actually a pretty cool structure, but that fog I thought really made that shot. Secondly, I think fog can really help you create mood in an image. So here are some shots I took along the Hudson River. It was a nice time of morning to shoot just before sunrise, but having that fog on the river created a great mood and ambiance for those images. Here's a shot I took in Central Park after a rainstorm. This is a great part of Central Park. Everyone takes these pictures, but I think the fog and of course the puddle in front also added to the image. This is a shot I took up in Westchester. The sun was breaking through these clouds and the fog was really capturing some of those colors. So this is a shot I really like. Here's a shot of a runner also in Westchester County that you really isolate that runner, creates a sense of mood in the image that I think would not be as good without the fog. So here in my area, we've had 2 foggy days in a row, and I've taken advantage of that. I've gotten out early, and I'm going to show you how I did right now. Well, good morning. I am in Rockland County, New York. I'm at a place called Rockland Lake State Park. And it is a foggy morning, and I love fog. And so I came here to shoot a small dock that goes off into this lake, but this morning it's socked in with fog, so I'm going to get a real minimalistic, serene image of this lone dock drifting off into this emptiness. I hope. We'll see. Well, I have shot here a number of times. I usually come for sunrise on a proper day when there's actually a sunrise, and I've gotten some amazing shots. Check this one out that I got a couple years ago. It was just a spectacular sunrise. I've done it in the winter. I have great shots in the winter like this one where the dock was covered but the water hadn't frozen yet. I thought it was spectacular. So this is kind of the third genre of it, a foggy shot at this dock. So I generally like very clean images, and I normally don't have branches like this invading my frame, but I do like the contrast between the organic, kind of gnarly nature of these branches with the very serene, straight lines of this dock. So I'm using a wide-angle lens, and I am doing it vertically, a portrait mode, so I can capture both. I made it down to Bayshore Waterfront Park, which is a small beach in New Jersey where there's this great fishing pier, and I thought it would be a great subject to shoot in fog. So when I'm shooting in fog, I definitely want something in the foreground. If there's nothing in the foreground, the stuff in your frame will all look just kind of mushy and gray and not very sharp. And so a pier is a great subject to shoot for fog, because you'll have something in the foreground, and as it goes out onto the horizon, it fades into the fog. Or at least beyond the pier, you're not going to see too much. It isolates the pier very well. Well, it's still about 15 minutes before sunrise. Not that we're going to get much of a sunrise or any sunrise today, but it's dark enough, so I'm going out to about 10-12 seconds right now, and that's allowing me to smooth out that water. And the water's pretty calm anyway, and so at this point I don't need like a neutral density filter to get a very long exposure. I'm achieving what I want to achieve with just, again, 10 seconds, 12 seconds. Well, I'm using a somewhat faster exposure now to try to capture some of the water movement as it kind of rushes onto shore. So I'm using about half a second. Had to boost my ISO a little bit to get a faster shutter speed, but I'm still getting a high quality image, and it's coming out really good. So I am going to try one very long exposure, going out about 2 minutes, just to make sure I get one shot where that water is super glassy and super smooth. About a minute into it, so we'll see how it comes out. You know, I shot at this location once before when there was a proper sunrise, and I got this fantastic image. I just loved it because of the color in the sky, and I used a long exposure to smooth out that water. It was a great shot. Well, I was heading home, and I realized there's another fishing pier in this area in a town called Keansburg. It's a much longer pier. It's enormous. So I figure, still pretty early, my family's still sleeping, I might as well come over and try to get a shot of this pier. This is a really very surreal scene here. It's remarkably calm, and this pier just goes right off into the fog. So I'm getting a long exposure, so it's going to be very minimalistic and almost surreal, I think. Well, it's not even 7 o'clock. I've gone to 2 fantastic locations. I think I got some great shots. I'm gonna head home, get them on the computer. If you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button in the lower right corner so you do not miss future videos. Until next time.